What's up, guys? Welcome to Sports Talk 101. And in today's video, we'll be talking about March Madness. March Madness has come to an end here. Final Four and championship game just around the corner. First round, second round, Sweet 16 and Elite 8 are done. Boy, it's been entertaining. I'm going to talk about first round all the way to Elite 8 and then get ready for the Final Four. That's what recap so far we've done the tournament so far. It's been really a fun tournament. Now, sadly, but this tournament, I know this tournament, I'm going to tell you that. There's no Cinderella team. There was zero Cinderella to this team, and it's a scene, yes, no perfect brackets, that. So let's take a look at the bracket. I will break down, what my thoughts on the bracket, my thoughts on the teams so far, what I've seen with, you know, so far tournament. We are going to start one region at a time. We'll start with the East region, and then we'll go to the West region. So we'll go one region at a time. Of the brackets is easier that way. Go from we'll start. So we'll start with east side, and then we'll do the east side. Then we'll do the south side. Then we're gonna do the Midwest, and then the West. So let's start it. All right, we'll start with the east side. We got Duke versus Siena. First round game. One seed Duke beats Siena. Really close game. Duke was showing this game against Siena. They looked shaky in this game against Siena. If you watch this game, they look shaky as hell. I mean, they did. His hesitation. Look, Duke, I know, get injuries. That's the part of the sport you play. I get injuries. That's one. They did not look great against Siena. Now, they looked better against Duke and better against, really good against, Duke. Duke against TCU in the next round. But the first round against Siena, they looked shaky. They're surely a tough potential upset. We've seen 16 beat Duke not often, but this has happened. But Duke ended up winning that game 71-65 to play well on that. Then TCU beats Ohio State. 9 seed versus beating a not 8 seed is common upset. You see a lot of time in the Mouse Madness tournament. It's common. It's just part of the game. But close game, really close game. This is one of the fun games. This is one of the closest games we ever get in March Madness. 2-point game. TC goes on to play Duke. St. John beats Northern Iowa. St. John's a really good team. What St. John has done this tournament to get to the Sweet 16, unfortunately eliminated the Sweet 16, but they're a really good team put together. Kansas, another good team, put it together. Louisville, this matchup was an interesting matchup. Louisville, Louisville's a good team. Michigan State just dominated this game. Now, this was the closest game you ever get. If you want a really good game, this was it. Tennessee versus Tennessee UCF. Both teams are really good teams. USLA, I know they beat Michigan State earlier this year. This is a really good team, one of the best teams in the Big Ten right now. Besides Purdue, Michigan, and Michigan State. Also, those three teams. UCLA is a good team in the Big Ten. Look, coming up years, this team's going to win a national championship game. Win the Big Ten. This team's going to do well in the Big Ten. This is a really good basketball program. We'll see what future is for this team. UConn, of course, going on to play USLA. They beat USLA to face Michigan State. They beat Michigan State. Really close game. This was a really good game. If you want to watch a really good game in Sweet 16, this was the best Sweet 16 games of all time. This was hell of a game. UConn and Michigan State. Back and forth between Tom Izzo and Kurt Hurley. It was a really good game. Back and forth. And I don't put this game right now. I'm going to bring the stats here, but Bosco.
Nothing beats March.
Or 3% cash back on that.
Say, but I'm going to get you got Carr. Really good player. Got Carr, Kohler, Cooper. 3 best players on the team for there. Of course, Fields on that one. And then, of course, the Huskies there. But look at the team stats, and I'm going to bring this. But, Michigan State, look, UConn, 46% in the field goal percentage, 9 for 21 on the 3-pointers. But you can see these are statistics. They're a good team. This is a really good game. This was a really close game. I mean, just pure domination there. And then Michigan State beats Louisville in the second round. UConn, St. John beats Kansas. Duke beats TCU, then beats face off St. John. They beat St. John's to face UConn. This was a good game. This is the best game, I think, of the Elite Eight. Here's what we'll say about this game. UConn's a really good team. This is 1 versus 2 type of scenario. Really good set matchup. Really close game. Again, Duke, a lot of people are surprised that Duke will, I know Duke was favorites. People wanted Duke to win tournament. But it was the injury. It was the injuries that I think affected Duke a lot. But they looked shaky as hell. But they picked up. Look, they looked shaky the first round against Siena. Then the next 2 rounds against St. John and TCU, they look more comfortable. And then they look really. This is the best game Duke I think has played all tournament. Not gonna lie, this is the best game Duke. Look, even good teams go lose. It's just the story of life. We go down bottom half. We go to South Region. Florida beats Prairie View. Dominated the game. They go on. The Clemson versus Iowa. Iowa beats Clemson. Iowa goes on to beat Iowa plus upset. Remember, Florida won the championship game last year. When national championship last year. Iowa goes on to move on to the Sweet 16. Vanderbilt beat McNeese. They play Nebraska. Nebraska beats Vanderbilt. They got Big 10 versus Big 10. Iowa goes on to Elite 8. VCU with upset. Overtime, they beat North Carolina. And then plays the Illinois beats VCU. Texas A&M beats St. Mary's. St. Mary's is a really good program. And often not, St. Mary's always makes the tournament. They're a really good team there. Houston goes on to beat Texas A&M in the second round. Illinois beats Houston in the Sweet 16. Remember, Houston was a runner-up last year in the national game. Illinois beats VCU. Illinois beats beating Iowa in Elite 8. We go to the other side of the bracket. There we go. I'm just adjusting right now. There you go. Alright, you got Arizona against Long Island. Arizona beats Long Island. Utah State beat Villanova. Villanova, really good program there. Utah State, these are two good programs here. Arizona ended up going all the way to Sweet 16. Beats Long Island, Utah State, Arkansas, who, by the way, High Point beat Wisconsin, was upset there. I did not expect that there. Of course, Arkansas goes on to beat Arizona. Arizona is a really good team. They just pure domination. They're in the Final Four, by the way. I will tell you why in a second. Well, they who the face up. They beat Purdue. This is a good game right here. Purdue and Arizona. Then Texas beats BYU. BYU always chokes in the first 2 rounds. They don't do well in the tournament. It's just nature of BYU. Gonzaga, a really good program, beats Kansas and loses to Texas. This is also a close game. Texas vs Purdue, another close game. Another good game. Miami vs Purdue. This also was a good game. Really good games. So there you go. Michigan beats Howard. Then St. Louis beats Georgia. Then Michigan beats St. Louis to face off in the Sweet 16. Texas Tech beats Akron. They face up. Then Alabama beats Hofstra. Tennessee beats Miami of Ohio. Virginia wins. Kentucky wins. Iowa State wins. So Iowa State beats Kentucky. Face Tennessee. Loses Tennessee. Tennessee beats Virginia and go all the way to face Michigan. Just pure domination there. Michigan beats Alabama, by the way. And there you have it. And these are the first 4 games, Game. Yeah. So then, what do you know about UConn, right? Because number one factor to have UConn reach why. So 5-4 is set. UConn, Illinois, UConn, Arizona, and Michigan are the Final Four teams. We'll talk about that bracket. We'll look at the bracket why. But anyways, that is recap of one all the way to Elite 8. My thoughts are really good games, close games, really good team. This is like. Alright, so this how does UConn do well? They beat Furman round 64, 82-71 victory over 15 seed Furman. They beat 17 UCLA 73-54-7. Really close game against Michigan State 65-63. Another close game against number 1 Duke in Elite 8. The number 1 factor that they have UConn reach Final Four is Terry Reed Jr. and the experience maintain help the Huskies need to deal with Duke. Seeing that 19-point lead in the first half pushed them there. 3 players have been in coach Dolly Hustle for the last 2 years, which is a rarity in the current landscape, so they will cover rotation. Illinois is the only team in the polls I agree with that. You got freshman Brandon Mullins. He's been up and down, but never hit it right, but we'll see how he does. He's a 5-star recruit, by the way, so, he hit biggest 3-pointer of his 0.5 seconds, sent UConn back to Final Four. Okay, Solo Ball He's a 6'4" guard, averaging 6.5 games per game March and 4.1 March between November and February. He's there. We can do it. Remember, UConn defeated Illinois back in November, 50 points when they defeated 74. So they beat Illinois before. Potential flaws. And we talk about flaw, we get to do it. So what they can do, but potential flaw, fatal flaw. They don't create any feature opportunities for herself and just for opponents. And that's, I love Dan Hill. He's a really good coach. I love UConn, really good program. They won this back-to-back years a couple years ago. Not in Atlantic because it was Florida, but they, one of the worst in America when it comes to putting points on the free throw line. They're like what 30? Look. 307th out of 365. I mean, that is just obviously pathetic. Yeah. Also, worst team graded free throws, 6th. In 5 losses, the 80 free throws attempts combined, while the opponent had 128. This why it matters. When nobody in America sends opponents to free throw less than Illinois. They're the number 1 team in defense free throw rate. Also, 14 ranked nationally with 78%. What would happen? Will win if Illinois has been Illinois is a good team. Okay, they've been an offensive team in the country, but if an elite defense against Houston and Iowa and Elite 8, you're gonna need to solve that. Now, the Huskies, they have the size which allows them basically to put restrictive zone against points, okay? Remember, 40% undershots have been from Houston and UConn, Iowa. It was been against Illinois. So UConn has to begin with Reed. He has to score, basically scored 20 points in the last 3 games, for the last 3 or 4 games, right? He was the dominant man to beat Duke. He has to be great. Otherwise, you also got to make sure the fight Illinois doesn't get coupled in the zone. And then they're going to exploit the pockets that Illinois in their defense. And protecting him against one of the biggest team in plus will be matter. Okay, how about Illinois? This is the stats to beat, Pennsylvania, VCU, UConn, you can see this. Blah, 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 and blah, blah. Not really great close games. It is the most efficient team, right? But the defense blocked the run. They had VCU to 55 points. 0.83 points per possession in the first round, 32. 0.94 in 16, and then 1.04 points in the Elite 8. This is a team that can do well. They probably step up David Mavick. We'll see how they do against UConn. Reliance 3-point. That's the biggest thing in basketball for them. The biggest key is to limit Reed. That's what they got to do. Getting foul trouble. He's been dominant in the game. We'll say there. And then, of course, I don't just blew everybody out. This is what makes Wildcats the number 1 team. Number 1 in the nation free throw attempts, nearly 20 points per game. 30 points, 60 points, paint points, and 30 points from the free throw line. And most combined points in the last 20 years in the tournament. Cover check. And Michigan. Alright, so anyways. So there is the Final Four, April 4th, April 4th, 6 p.m. Illinois versus UConn. The next game will be Michigan and 1 seed. This will be a good game. Let's take a look at the betting odds here. Alright, here we go. According to DraftKings, and Michigan is an underdog. I'm not going to favorite to win this one. As favorites, they're -1.5 against Arizona. Oh yeah, I'm taking Michigan -1.5, and I'm thinking it's gonna be a close game. But I think it's gonna be under 157, like a 90. It'll be a close game. This is gonna be a close game. At 51% of Michigan winning it. It's 50-50 between. It's 50-50. But this game, Youngberg, the transfer, he has 52 point per game field goals, and then free throws 81.6%. Average per game 50.2 average points per game. 160.1 for Burries, who is 50% at field goals and 80% at free throws. Aqua is 3.5. Oh, you can see this is stats here. 9% rebound per game. These are the top stats players per game. The top players: Kadu, Johnson, and Lenberg. Key players for Michigan: Burries, Aqua, and Bradley for the Wildcats. Michigan scores 87.7 points. They allow 69.6 points against. 51% at field goals, so pretty even there. Pretty even on points per game. Look, let's say about this game. Michigan and Arizona pretty much even in points against, almost even in field goals, rebounds even. Michigan has more assists, more blocks, and then of course it has more steals. But they're mostly even in 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 categories, give or take. And then the other game is winner will play an national game. Illinois same stat, but same 1+5 and 1+5, but over and there. Let's take a look here. Illinois has a higher chance to win this game than UConn is. These are the top players. Reed is a big player for this guy. Mikvich, Bagler are the two players for Illinois. How many average per game, points, rebounds, assists per game, percentage for field goals, and free throws for each person. Offensive rebounds per game, defensive rebounds per game. Looks like they're pretty much even in points against and points against. Free throw goes almost even in rebounds, but Illinois leads rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals for UConn. There you have it. My thoughts. I got UConn. I think UConn will win this. Can UConn win this game? Sure. UConn can win this game. Illinois can win this game. It's gonna be a tough matchup here. I'm gonna go with. I'm taking UConn. I think UConn will beat Illinois. They'll come back. Now, can Illinois, we'll be surprised if Illinois wins? No. Will we say if UConn wins? No. But I think the final score will come down to like a 74-73 type of game. It'll be a really close game, 1 point game, 1 2 3 point game. It's going to be a really exciting game to watch. These two really good programs there. Big Ten versus the Big East. The other side of the bracket is going to be Arizona, other five for Arizona, the Big 12 now against the Big Ten, Michigan. I'm going to go with Michigan. Ryan and I, Michigan. I think Michigan will win this one. I guess Illinois, Arizona. Will be surprised if Michigan wins this one? No. Will be surprised Arizona wins this one? No. The final score will be like 97-94 type of game. It'll be a high-scoring game, but a really close game. I think that's there. But anyways, that's my picks, my thoughts. Recap the first two run all those Elite Eight. Really good tournament so far. From bracket wise and the matchup you got, the teams how they did well. Your Duke, your little tricky at times. Some of the teams really good, like good teams like Duke, St. John, Kansas, St. Mary's, A&M, Missouri, Florida, Texas, Purdue, Iowa, Nebraska, Vanderbilt, Texas Tech, Alabama, Kentucky, Iowa State, Kansas, Tennessee, Houston. I mean, these are all really good programs that first and lost, limited in only rounds. Really good programs. So, honestly, for this tournament, I love March Madness for this tournament because of buzzer beaters, the close games, the Cinderella and the bucket bracket busters. Unfortunately, there's no Cinderella team. Look, yeah, I know there's a 12 seed. Look, you say Texas was in Cinderella. Well, again, there's the highest seed. Again, doesn't know. Texas now on Cinderella. They're a really good program in any sport to play. Texas, so is, look, High Point maybe the only true Cinderella in this year. Why I say that? Because they're a good program. They're really good, but not really because they're a good program. I get it from North Carolina, or they're High Point North Carolina, but they're a good program. VCU may be a true Cinderella, but they got eliminated early round. The Cinderella teams, 12 teams, of course, got eliminated early round. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Other than that, it's been a really good tournament. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know how your brackets are doing. Who we got to win the Final Four? Who we got to win the national game? Comment below. Like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification button. I am Sports Like One. Sign out. See you next video. Peace.